Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today I am going to pass on everything I know about how to use ATGMs effectively as possible in World of Tanks console. The format for this video, I will break it down right now. I'm going to go over the 4 engagement types that you will find yourself in when you're using ATGMs. I will then break down these engagement types and explain what you can do to improve the odds that you have in those engagement types. I'll go over the most basic first, then we'll do intermediate, then we'll do the advanced stuff, and then we'll move on to what I think is as advanced as you can get with ATGMs in the game. After that, I will then show you a video that I clipped from a stream, which was in the Rikitikitave 2, and it was an absolutely incredible game. So we'll finish on that as a demonstration of what you can achieve with ATGMs alone. So, without further ado, let's jump into this video. Okay, rating these types of engagement from easiest to hardest. We start with the easiest. You're stationary and the enemy target is stationary. All you need to do is put the ATGM in the air, keep the red laser dot on target and wait for the ATGM to arrive and do its thing. Next up, we have movement involved. Your tank is stationary, but the enemy target is moving. It must be stressed that your aim is based on the red laser dot and not the white aim reticle in the center of the screen. When movement is involved, the red laser dot is your aim point. Next up, movement again, except this time you're moving, but the enemy target is stationary. Again, you must aim based on the red laser dot and not the white aim reticle. That cannot be stressed enough. And finally, we have the hardest type of engagement. Your tank is moving and the enemy tank is moving. This is almost as complex as firing ATGMs gets in World of Tanks console. Not only do you need to focus on where you're driving, but you also need to focus on keeping your red laser dot on target to ensure the kill. And now we unlock the bonus level. In this engagement, you spot an enemy target and you put the ATGM into the air, but you very quickly realize that there are objects blocking your line of sight to the target. So what do? Well, you have to fly the ATGM around the objects. And in this example, the ATGM is in the air, there is a rock blocking my line of sight to the target, so I have to fly the ATGM up and over the rock and then back down onto the target. How do we do this? Well, you need to move your aim reticle in the direction you want the ATGM to travel. If you want to go over the rock, you aim above the rock, which pulls the direction of travel of the ATGM upwards. This is true for whether or not you want to go left, right, or beneath an object. So there you have it, guys. Those are the 4 or 5 types of engagement that you will find yourself in World of Tanks console. What I want to do now is I want to go back over all of these types of engagement and just talk about some nuanced things about ATGMs that you will discover, you'll come across them. And I want to cover those because sometimes, well, not sometimes, we all know what it's like. It's very easy to talk about stuff. It's easy to talk about theory. It's another thing to put it into practice. So I'm going to go through a couple of things that I do to make my ATGM experience a lot easier and a lot nicer. So the first thing I'll do is I will just go... I'll focus on the first type of engagement because that is the most basic, and then I'll lump the rest together because they're all kind of interconnected. So the first type of engagement is your tank is stationary and the enemy tank is stationary. If you're new to ATGMs, this is the perfect introduction to ATGM engagements, because what you'll find is that not all ATGMs are the same. And something that is a little confusing at first is you can play a variety of ATGM tanks, and you'll notice that some feel very, very quick, and others feel very, very slow. But when you look at the statistics, all we have are the ATGM top speeds. The reason this is a little misleading is because while the top speeds are very similar, we're not told what the acceleration rates for ATGMs are. So for example, the ATGMs on the Sheridan are rapid. The same can be said for the Chrysler K tank. They are rapid. When you then play the BMP-1, you'll notice that these ATGMs feel slower. They might not necessarily be that much slower statistically, but what you're noticing is the Sheridan's ATGM will go from 0 to its top speed in, I don't know, over a distance of 25 meters, whereas the BMP-1's ATGM will go from 0 to its top speed over a distance of 100 meters. So this can be very, very useful in some ways. It can also be a bit of a pain in other ways. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this as part of the beginner's starting point is because this change in speed allows for a type of ATGM play that utilizes the variations in speed, and it also is a slight introduction to movement. So here we're transitioning from you're still to and then being still to you being sort of still, and the target, well, it can be still, it can be moving, it doesn't matter. And what I'm talking about is firing from behind cover. So if you've got a sluggish ATGM like the BMP-1, BMP-2, or, and I have done this in the Rakuten Jagdpanzer 2, and this is the example I'll show you here, you can be behind cover, you can put an ATGM in the air, you can then pull back around from cover, find the target, put the laser pointer onto the target, and you will then hit the target. Now you might be asking, well, why would I want to do that? If I can see the target, why wouldn't I just fire at the target? Fair enough, good question. The reason is because you might be in a situation like I am here, where I'm the last alive on my team, and I need to reset the cap, but I don't want to be detected. So what do? I put my ATGM in the air because the moment of firing is the moment that will get you spotted. But if the moment that would get you spotted is concealed, they're not going to spot you. So, fire from cover and then bring the ATGM onto target. You can reset the cap like I do here without being detected. So that is the key to introducing some slight movement, because what's happening here is for the majority of the engagement, my tank is stationary. The only movement is me from behind cover to not behind cover. So it's slight movement, and that's why it's kind of a transition from everything is stationary to things moving. That's my reason for mentioning it now. Alright, the next thing I want to mention is, and you've probably noticed I've stressed this already enough during this video, and that is you've got to focus on the red laser pointer. You have to. Why am I stressing this? Well, there's a good reason for it. When I started playing ATGM tanks, I couldn't for the life of me work out why my shots were missing, because I was so used to playing the game and aiming based on the white aim reticle. So what I was doing was just doing the same thing that I'd always done in the game. ATGMs were very, very new, and I didn't know that there was this massive latency difference between the red laser pointer and the white aim reticle. So that's my reason for stressing this. And I had to make a very deliberate and conscious effort to focus on the red laser pointer. I had to do it. Like when I fired an ATGM, I had to say to myself, right, I am deliberately focusing on the red. I'm ignoring the white. I have to do that, because if I don't, my shot's going to miss. So yeah, I would really, really stress that you guys focus on the red laser pointer instead of the white aim reticle. The next one is, people have noticed, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why this does happen sometimes and sometimes it doesn't, but when you launch an ATGM, you'll see this puff of smoke that blinds you for a second, which means you can't see the target. And that is annoying. And people have asked Wargaming, could you reduce the smoke, or can you change the smoke? And yeah, you know, Wargaming could do that. Another way around it is, the puff of smoke that is generated is very much like using the smoke consumable. the smoke is generated and it just sits there. So rather than trying to reduce the smoke that you see, all you need to do is move around it. So if your tank is front facing the target and there's a puff of smoke, all you need to do is just drive forward slightly, and the smoke that was here and your tank is here, if you drive forward slightly, you'll go through it. Your point of vision will go through the smoke, will go through the smoke, and you can then see the target again. So if Wargaming aren't going to adjust this visibility thing in the game, you can either drive through the smoke, or if you're sideways onto the smoke, just move left or right, so that you're looking, rather than trying to look through it like this, you just do that. That is my recommendation for this smoke generated from launch. That's what I would recommend you guys do to avoid that. Okay. Next up, we have leading shots, and you saw me do this twice in that Ruinberg game. So I'll go back over. I'll clip the shots here again, and I'll add some other ones as well that I've got. But when you're leading close range ATGM shots, you're going to have to lead the shot by what feels like an excessive amount. And we're all used to leading shots with armor piercing rounds from regular guns, and you lead the shot a little bit. If it's at long range, you'll lead it by quite a bit more. But even when you're at close range with an ATGM, you've got to lead by what will feel like an entire tank length or half a tank's length just to hit a close range shot. It's just what you have to do. It's going to feel weird, it's going to feel like it's too much at first, but eventually you will get used to it, because that's just what you need to do if you want to hit these close range ATGM shots. The next thing I would say is you can fire ATGMs from the third person view, but what I have found is it's not 100% reliable. And that is why I would encourage people to fully aim their ATGM shots. Even if they're close range, fully aim by holding the left trigger, the aim button. Aim your shots, because the number of times I've missed a close range shot because I just thought that I could just snap onto them from third person. The number of times I've missed and then subsequently died it's not worth the risk. Sometimes it does pay off, sometimes it works, but there are times when it doesn't, and those times really sting, because ATGMs have a long reload, and a lot can happen during your long reload. I mean, if it's the interclip reload, which is about 10 seconds, a lot can happen in 10 seconds. A whole lot more can happen in your full 30-second reload, especially if the tank if the tank you were aiming at, if you could have killed them with that shot, then you really want to make sure you hit them, because if you've got a 30-second reload, they might shoot you another 5-6 times while you're reloading, and you could be dead. So fully aim your shots, unless you are absolutely confident your third-person aim shot is going to hit the target, then, don't. Unless you're fully confident, aim every single shot. The next thing I want to mention is the concept of auto-aim with ATGMs. When you've got an ATGM equipped, you can use the auto-aim function. So you can lock onto a target, but the second you pull the trigger, the ATGM is not going to automatically track that target. This is how the system worked during Super Test before ATGMs were released, and what we found was you would just auto-lock a target, and because the red laser point was on the target all the time, you could be just driving around looking somewhere else, and that missile would just find its way to the target, boom, and there's your damage. It was too easy. So while you can auto-aim, you can auto-lock with the ATGM equipped, you can't auto-aim with the ATGM equipped. So do not trust auto-aim to find the missile, to track the target for you. You can pull the trigger, but you're going to have to aim it yourself. So yeah, auto-aim does not work with ATGMs. Okay, this is my last point I'm going to make about ATGMs before we get into the full replay. Something that I've noticed about the feedback with moving and firing ATGMs is that some people say that it's too much going on for me to do all of this all in one go. There's too much going on. But something that I'd like to highlight, and I don't think I've said this before, something that I want to convey to you guys is make your firing position as prepared and as advantageous to you as you possibly can before firing. Now, for example, I'll replay this clip here that I showed earlier in the video. So I handbrake turn around this Rakuten, what did I say there? This Rakuten Jagdpanzer 2, and I decide to drive in the flat riverbed because I'm assuming they're going to come chasing after me, and they do. But what I've done is I've put my tank in a position where, even though I'm driving, I know I just have to hold the left stick forward because I am on flat ground, and I know from memory, from map knowledge and memory, there's nothing in the way. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing in that riverbed. I can just draw. I can trust that if I hold the left stick forward, I'm not going to hit anything. And the same thing is true for this clip here. I'm firing at this AMX. I could have chosen to drive on the road or the rough riverbed where there's a house, there's cars in the way, there's trees in the way, or again, I can choose to drive in the flat riverbed. And I choose the flat riverbed because I know if I hold the left stick forward, I don't have to worry about hitting anything. I don't have to worry about concentrating on the driving at all, really. Even though I am driving, I don't need to worry about it because I've put myself in a position where there's nothing to worry about. And that leaves me free to fully focus on guiding the ATGM to the target. So that is something that I do a lot of when firing ATGMs. Now, sometimes you're in a position where you don't have the time to just, find a nice piece of flat ground. Sometimes you do just have to wing it and hope for the best. These German ATGM tanks, especially the light tanks, do not have great depression on their ATGMs, and I have had times where I've trusted the terrain to work with me. I've gone over a bump and my ATGM has just shot off to the moon because it doesn't have the depression to keep aiming down at the target. So sometimes it doesn't always work out, but for the most part, the Sheridan, the BMP-1, the BMP-2, tanks like that, they do have the depression on the ATGM launcher, and they can get away with some variation in the topography. So yeah, that is what I do. That's that's what I consciously think about when firing ATGMs. So there you go, guys. That is my complete memory bank of ATGM. that is about everything I can think of that I do to work with ATGMs, and it takes practice. I tell you guys, it takes a lot of practice. I've played a lot of ATGM tanks, and I have gone from being terrible to not too bad with them. So there you go. That is everything I have got. And to round this up, we have a game here that was recorded on my last stream, and this was an absolutely incredible game. Absolutely incredible. So incredible, I think I end this game thinking that maybe this tank is a little overpowered. But anyway, thanks all for watching. Enjoy this last clip. And if you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, if not a dislike. Let me know what your thoughts are on ATGMs down below. Subscribe. Please subscribe. Enjoy this last clip, and I will see you all in the next one. Sorry for the repeat question. Do you think Era 2 is going the way of Era 3, as it's not nice to... It's not quite as bad as Era 3, because we don't have a weasel. We don't have anything that can just go wherever it wants, is impossible to hit, and can take you for 1400. We don't have anything like that. It's a tough one.
volume of ATGMs is a problem. I think the volume may possibly be temporary, because we are working with a new line, so there is the popularity factor. But yeah, I mean, if we're talking about weasels in Era 2, this is close, because I'm in a tank destroyer and I've got 3,500 spotting assist. Should I be doing that? Should I be like this? I don't know. I'm playing it like this because I can. But does that mean that's how it should be? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Am I trying to fit stuff into a box too much? Am I trying to put things into the World War II box? Is there meant to be a difference? Is this meant to be different? I don't know. I can't figure it out. And I think that's kind of what's irritating me. Because we can take you. Go on. T72. That's an aggressive play. That didn't matter. Oh well. He's dead. Oh, come on. 113. Minimum armor. Yeah, I see. In the video I failed to record, my failed video today, I talked about a minimum army distance, but then I realised if you're in this thing, you're screwed. Because what do you do? Like what? You're in a tech tree tank that can't play anything closer than 50 meters. For, you know, just for example, we'll say the arming distance is 50 meters, and that would be the only tank in the game that can't defend itself in a particular position. So you can't do that because that would be, well, unfair in a word, I suppose. But I think this is why I'm struggling to come up with a constructive video on this topic, because there's just so much. It's just not clear. It's just not. It's not an easy fix. I don't know. I really don't know. You're reloading because you haven't got any ATGMs out, so you're dead. There we go. RDF is at the back still. There's another. Look at this. Look at my score. This is madness. And this is bottom of era 2. Like, this is on par with the M60. This is the M60, this is T62, this is it's beneath the Scorpion 90.
We got him. That was quite a feat.
Super M48 was in A5. Come on guys, it's a medium. We've got a whole bunch of light tanks on the team. Come on. Let's not chicken out now. Come on, attack. Where's attack? Where's attack? Where's attack? Why can't I read? Attack. Oh, it's right there at the top. Where is he? There he is.
Impressive kill. Best job I ever had.
And we'll ammo rack him. We know why not. Why not have the ammo rack? So, there you go. 7 kills. We're going to take a moment here, ladies and gents. 7 kills, 9,000 damage, 7,245 assist. In a fully unlocked bottom tier tank. Mastery, patrol duty, firepower, high caliber, demolition expert, top gun,